All right, today I wanted to share a story about one of the hardest things I never shared with my family. You see, when a lot of people start doing anything, they have this habit of immediately shouting their intentions and desires through the rooftops, right? Posting it on social, telling grandma, writing letters to friends all over the place. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. This is gonna be so huge. And guess what happens 95% of the time? Nothing. Nothing happens beyond that because you've just expressed your intentions, got social validation, and then your brain gave you a huge rush of dopamine and you feel like you've accomplished it when you haven't even started. So, how do we get around this? Well, you don't tell people. Don't tell people what your intentions are. Don't tell them about the business you're starting. Don't tell them about how much you intend to make or what you think you're capable of making. Why? Why? Your family should be your biggest support, but they're not. Especially if they're not entrepreneurs that are financially successful already. Because if they're not entrepreneurs, that means they're employees. And if they're employees, they're used to being told what to do, being told where to do it, and being told how much they're gonna make. And then being told that they're not gonna get paid for weeks or a month after doing that work. And they accept this. This is okay. And that's okay that they accept it. But for me, it's not enough. So what happened was back in 2020, I was visiting my family and I'd signed up for this huge course, the biggest investment I'd ever made. It was 6 months long and it was an online course. And I had a lot of things to do. So I'd get up super early, 3:30 in the morning. I'd do half an hour of meditation, journaling, chanting. And then I'd get to work. And I'd work on the computer all day until approximately 2 to 4 o'clock. If I had a lot that I was really working on, I'd work even later. And since my parents didn't know what was going on, and they don't know how to work online, and they don't know about how to sell things that scale, like an ebook. You make it once and you can keep selling it, right? So they don't understand how that stuff works. They get social media and they love e-commerce, but that's on the consumption side of things, not the production side of things. So I'm working away for months, and one day, my mom sits down and she's like, I don't remember how exactly we got on the topic, but she was basically saying like, well, why don't you just go get a job? Literally, she was saying that. And I was literally speechless and pretty insulted because I already had one private client who was paying me 4 figures a month to do these private classes. And I had some stimulus checks, and I was just like too busy focusing on this course and building all the things I needed to build that going and getting a job would have completely destroyed that, because it would have taken the time and energy I was using on my own schedule when I worked best. It would have consumed that. And I know myself, I know my energy type. I wouldn't have had the energy after a job and commuting and doing some kind of menial retail job. It just wouldn't have been satisfying, fulfilling, and it wouldn't have provided enough that I needed to make an impact, especially given how much time and energy I'd have to put into doing it. And I didn't want to sit there and explain how online systems work to my mom. So I just dug in my heels and was like, look, I'm doing work that's meaningful. I'm building things that will be able to support me. I'm doing things that will allow me to earn more than I ever have before. And what I didn't say was multiple times what you guys are earning. And my parents earn good money. So it was like, I had a really hard time with it. It was very frustrating, but it was also very motivating. And I learned that if I can keep the desire to share those things and say what I'm doing and be excited about it initially to myself, then I would be able to keep going. And I did. I kept going, I kept working on it. It ultimately failed, but I learned a lot of lessons. And I truly do believe that it was because I kept it inside. And in this particular instance, when it failed, I didn't have any explaining to do to people. Oh, how's that project going? Weren't you supposed to blah, 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 blah? And, having the shame of saying, oh, I tried and it didn't work and stuff. Keep it quiet until you get the money rolling in. And even then, don't tell your family. You know why? Or your friends, right? Unless you got one really chill, close friend, especially if they're already making money. But most people think that it's good to do that because your friends and family will support you. No, they won't. No, they won't. Here's why. You leaving the employee model of doing things, which is supposedly more secure. Okay. You breaking out and doing things on your own, and particularly doing things that can earn you more money than they might earn, is a threat. They are threatened by you doing something different than they've done and probably been preaching to everyone that it's a good idea to get a good job. You need a good education, get a good job, be stable, only make money twice a month or once a month. Yeah, real good. Okay? So they feel threatened that you've chosen a different path. Sorry about the background noise here. There's always something going on. So they feel threatened that you've chosen a different path that gives you more freedom and more financial opportunity. Okay? Now, it does come with the expense of having to invest a little bit in platforms up front, learn a few skills, build some materials. But once you have those built, the results compound, because then you just focus on growth in advertising and sales, not rebuilding everything from scratch all the time. That's the difference, and that's why they feel threatened, because if you can make that happen, they'll feel like an idiot for doing what they've been doing the past 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years. That's why I said if your family members are entrepreneurs, it's different. They'll appreciate the hustle and the struggle to get started, but they're going to also respect the amount of risk, investment, learning curve, and opportunity to build something. Sorry, I've got this ant on me here. To build something that's going to last and can really grow. So you got to be mindful about that. And once you do start earning money, you still don't want to tell your family, right? Like, actually earning good money will start to show in your life, right? And it's not all about earning money just for the sake of making a lot of money. But the fact is, like doing asana, show me anyone who regularly practices asana and doesn't improve their flexibility. It just doesn't happen. Why? Because flexibility and joint mobility are a result of doing asana practice. Irrefutable. Show me a paper that says, in this case, 30% of students who did asana didn't get any flexibility improvement. I haven't seen one, okay? Running a business is like that. when you help people legitimately, they're happy to pay you for it. A lot of yoga teachers really struggle with this. Like, oh, I want to help people. And they think, they think that helping people means doing it for free. But the fact is, people know if you're good at it, you wouldn't do it for free, right? People just are, they're just suspect of that. And they should be, right? Like, what do you get out of doing all of this? Yeah, your karma's up a little, but everybody knows that you've got bills and, you know, you have to live. So people are always suspect about everyone doing so much stuff for free. And once you do start earning money, it's just, money is a result. It's an outcome. Let me get a better camera view there. It's an outcome of helping people do better in their life. If you help people do better, get some sort of result that they want, they'll happily pay you for it, right? So money isn't your proof of success. It's your proof of helping people. Because the more you help people, the more they'll pay you for it. It's a very simple formula. And when you start earning that money, don't go tell your family. Don't go tell your friends. Why? Because for the same reasons I just mentioned. They'll be jealous, or you'll get the next response. Well, you still shouldn't quit your job because internet money's unstable. Well, obviously, whoever says that hasn't had a decent subscription package going, right? And forget that. Guess what? If you lose your job, you have to go find another one, which could take a very short time or a very long time. But you still have to do it. Whereas when you're an entrepreneur, I can just create a new product or service, as many as I want. One's not working, cut it, start a new one. One is working, great. Find an additional service that people want and add it on top of that. Like, if you're loving your job and you're working full time, can you just go get another full-time job? And maybe you could and do the 80 hours a week thing if you want, but I don't know why you would. So what you should do when you start earning some money is get yourself a coach who earns a lot more than you, because they're not going to be impressed by earning 200 or 1,000 or 5,000 a month, right? They'll be supportive, but not impressed. Big difference. Because your coach should be earning considerably more than that. And their job is to show you how to turn what you're doing now, earning, 500 to 5,000 a month, into 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month. Those aren't like random crazy numbers, right? If you're an employee, that sounds ridiculous. But when you're a business owner, that's chump change. You're not doing very well. I mean, you're doing well, but you don't have to look very far in business to find 1 or 2 person businesses that are doing over $1 million a year in revenue. So earning 10 or 15 or 20,000 a year is really not that much. And this is totally doable online because you have scalable systems. It's just a matter of doing more advertising to make more sales. You take the money from those new sales, you put it back in your advertising, and repeat the process. This is how businesses can grow and make so much money. So the point being here, if you're thinking about starting an online business, you should do it. You should, but you should be strategic. You should be careful who you talk to about this. Don't tell your family. Sit down in silence, put your head down, do the work. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, you might not feel like it. I guess you don't feel like having a better life. I guess you don't feel like earning way more money than you ever have before. I guess you don't feel like helping people very much. There's going to be times that you don't feel like doing stuff and you still have to do it. That's part of being a responsible adult who does what needs to get done. And as an entrepreneur, that's part of your responsibility. Now, right now, doing those things that you don't want to do is going to suck. Cold, hard facts. But as an entrepreneur, you should be able to figure out why it sucks, why you don't like doing it, what the process is, document that process and then pay someone else to do it. Or figure out that process and possibly document the process in a nice way so that you can create a product or service from it. Because if you hate doing this thing, chances are other people do too. All right. Now, if you hate doing your taxes, well, guess what? You're not gonna document the process and then just become an accountant. I mean, you could, but there's already accountants, right? So just bear this in mind. Don't tell people what you're gonna do. Just do it. When you start getting the results, don't tell people your results. Hire a coach and ask them for their help on taking you to the next level. All right? That's the crazy part right here. If you'd like to learn how I've done this, how I've made this transition, I've prepared a free workshop. All you have to do is click the link in the description below. It's free. You can join anytime you want, and I'll show you how I've moved from teaching group yoga classes to running an online business that's successful, makes me plenty of money every single month, and gives me the freedom that I need to live my life. Link is in the description. I'll see you there.